Compliments of the season to you out there. Yes. How many more days? We'll call it a wrap for 2020. We're going to say welcome 2021. It's been a wonderful year, an exceptional year. A year that had so much in store, and of course it was a year that many persons or people globally got to realize the importance of God. Yeah. Believe you me, believe me, it was like 2020. For some it was okay. For others, a few more persons, it was superlative. Why to some majority, it was horrible. So what side of the divide do you belong to? But the most important thing is that you are alive. You're watching me. You're hearing the sound of my voice. It's enough to give thanks to God. Welcome to the last edition of Africa Discourse Fair 2020. Yeah. Today is all about Africa as a continent. I am Wilson Omasha with me here in the studio to really talk about it's like going through memory lines, going through memory lane, going through so many experiences that really made 2020 thick in Africa. Join me to welcome a clergyman, lecturer at UniBen, College of Medicine, a political analyst, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Honorable Frank Amego. Welcome to Africa Discourse, the last edition for the year 2020.
It's a pleasure to witness the last edition for the year. And it's a good thing to be alive. So happy New Year in advance.
Same to you, same to you. Well, we're expecting others to come join us in the studio. If they come, fine. If they don't, as I say, the show will definitely go on. That is broadcasting for you. We can't talk about the year 2020 without talking about coronavirus. Yes, the first wave came. It shook the world. Africa wasn't exempted, but from what we're saying, we're like what they expected to see in Africa, they didn't see it. But it's like South Africa is beginning to fulfill the prophets in the negative dimension, this second wave, so to speak. Let's talk about the COVID-19, the vaccines, and all that among the major events that are shaping Africa as a continent.
Good. It's unfortunate that South Africa is the first country in the continent to hit above a million. COVID-19 cases. Quite unfortunate. And the second wave, I don't know why we are scared in Nigeria about the second wave. Because there are some indices that will pave way for the second wave. We don't have them yet in Nigeria. Just that we are being careful. So COVID-19 has come and has done no one no good. Quite unfortunate. But the other side of it is the way the various governments in Africa have taken it. It's a thing for them to make more money. Quite unfortunate. And COVID-19 is not a death warrant, so to speak. And the moment we'll have this understanding, laying too much emphasis on COVID-19, the less the continent of Africa will develop. And incidentally, Africa is the poorest and the least developed continent in the world. And we are challenged by this COVID-19. Recently, on social media, I saw, I read somewhere that Bill Gates never expected this level of cases. That's if it's wishing us evil. The way we live in Nigeria, for instance, we live a communal life. And if this thing was really there as proclaimed, nobody would have been alive in Nigeria.
All right. You just hold on. We'll come back to you because we want to make one or two adjustments to accommodate our next guest. We're taking a look at the year 2020 in retrospect, event that shaped Africa this year. You just can't talk about it without mentioning the coronavirus pandemic. We'll be right back. Do stay tuned.
Generation to over decent society, your children, because your parents handed over a respectable society. How come you are supervising a society that has no respect for the elderly? You are supervising a society that has no respect for values. What kind of the next generation of parents are we going to have? The kind of training our parents gave to us. We, this young generation parents, we have failed our society. We have failed. We have over-pampered our children, and they have gotten rotten now. They believed in that time that a good name is better than riches. But unfortunately, you, this generation, you now believe that riches is better than a good name. Where did you learn this from? Where did you get that spirit from? Where did you get this attitude from? That was not what your parents taught you. Why are you teaching your children now put money ahead of a good name? And it is because of this corruption has eaten our society. Everybody is looking for money, regardless of where you get it and how you get it. Where did you learn these things from? This generation of people 40 years to 75, you have failed your children, you have failed your grandchildren, and it is time you rise up, correct the mess behind you before you exit this world. Your parents and my parents at that time will ensure that you go to school. They will arrange to get an extra teacher, but there is no way my parent and your parent will find a way to buy a question paper and for me to study. There is no way my parents and your parents will ever do that. But how come you have been doing that? You go behind the scene, you buy question papers for your children and they get an A+ and you celebrate them. You are teaching your children how to do evil and corrupt society. This generation is responsible for the mess we are in. Society is the product of the family. Society starts from the family, and from the family to the community, community to the larger community, and to the entire nation. So if today we say that the society is rotten, it means that the home is rotten. If we say society is corrupt, it means the home is corrupt. The problem of our country is not only because of government, but it is because we've had irresponsible parents who have destroyed the values and the foundations of our homes.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. Remember, every quote you just saw Bishop Mensa talking about the ills in the society and, of course, not leaving the parents out of the equation. Now, what I said earlier on, we're expecting a guest to come join us in the studio. Join me, welcome a clergyman, an entrepreneur, and, of course, a political analyst, Salvation Onumbra. Welcome to Africa Discourse, the last edition for the year 2020.
Wow, thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon, viewers.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we are with you, Honorable Frank Amigo. You were talking about the COVID-19 and the way it's shaping the Africa, so to speak. Continue from where you stopped, about the Bill Gates, you know, what you saw on the social media about the comment of Bill Gates.
Yes, Bill Gates really wanted an escalated figure, good or bad. But thank God, we are very religious in Africa. God has been helping us thus far. And COVID-19 pandemic has ravaged different sectors in all countries in Africa, like agriculture, sports, entertainment, politics, and all segments. But in all of these areas, politics was the least affected because in the wake of the COVID-19, elections were still going on, campaigns here and there, as if there was no COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria and some other parts of the African globe. So what I see there is we're going to have a major challenge along the line of agriculture. Using Nigeria as a case study, the farmers are not able to go to farm because of banditry attacks, terrorism and all that. And apart from that, the weather has also helped the situation. The government on its own created a further challenge. So the attack by COVID-19 on agriculture is what we're going to see in the year 2021. There'll be food scarcity. By simple extrapolation, there'll be food scarcity, and the various African presidents should put things in place to mitigate this so that Africans can live better lives next year.
So they can live better lives next year. Observation, you heard it because we're talking about one of the events that's shaping Africa. We just can't talk about it without mentioning the effect of COVID-19 on our continent. What do you feel about that?
Well, COVID-19 is a revealer. When COVID-19 came, it came to show us what preparing. You don't wait for the rain to fall, you prepare for the raining day. But I thank God, because for me, I feel Africa has a general continental Thanksgiving we should do. Because according to the proverb that says, cow that does not have tail is God that drives life for them. We don't understand. You see, when other nations were preparing how to wear their nose masks, using hand sanitizer, Africans were believing, we didn't even believe there was COVID-19. Not to talk, people needed to first believe before they wear nose masks. Fellow Africans will tell you they want to use it to steal and all that, and somehow it went well. First, there's something I really even want to say. They are logical arguments. I am not a supporter of the government. When I see bad things, I say. But I want to say that the explanation that says that government want to use COVID-19 to steal is not a logical explanation, and I will tell you why. When you look at politicians in Africa, when they steal big. Look at the cases that we have in court. We'll be talking of billions of dollars. One person steals. The amount of money associated with COVID-19 is not big enough for politicians to want to steal, to go through all this stress they are going through. If we are talking of trillions of dollars, we are talking of people who are shutting down airports, everywhere is shut down and all that. It is not logical for anybody to come up and say politicians are trying to use it to steal. Because many times when my friends tell me that, I ask them, I said, come to think of it, don't you think that if these people really want to steal, for example, let's use Nigeria as a case study, are there not enough money in crude oil for them to steal? Are there not other things than for somebody to shut down a whole nation because he wants to steal?
Now, you raised the point about Nigeria. Don't forget about the NDC probe where billions, they say, was earmarked for COVID-19. People are saying that we didn't see this. Is that not huge enough? So millions of naira.
No, when you look at the Nigerian narrative, when you look at what politicians can steal, all the money they are talking of that lost in COVID-19 is what one Nigerian politician steals. The presidency, the governors, the House of State, they can't all gather to steal that money. And because that's the money they want to steal, they will now shut down the nation. What I'm trying to say is, if you are even saying these people steal, the money associated with COVID-19 is too small for them to shut down the nation with that lie. It shows that it's a reality. COVID-19 is real. Two things, and another thing I want to tell persons again, when you have doctors as friends, if you want to know if COVID-19 is real, if you have any friend that is a doctor, ask the person. It's easy to say it's not real here, but when you have at least your doctors who have, your friends who are doctors, they are not government officials, meet them and ask them, it's real. COVID-19 is, somebody could explode the figure somewhere, but it's a reality. Now, if it is a reality, the fact that we were saved, without most Nigerians, in fact, if you look at Nigeria today, we only wear nose masks when we want to enter the bank. With all the publicity that is going on, at the beginning of COVID-19, they were selling hand sanitizers on the road. It's no longer a business now because people are not buying. But somehow God saved us. It's a mystery that I don't understand, but God saved us. But the next thing we want to now say, the world is talking about a second wave. A second wave that is coming. There are benefits. I see some benefits that came out of COVID-19. There are a lot of disadvantages. There's also advantages. What are the advantages I saw that shaped Africa through COVID-19? I think COVID-19 made us to be more conscious of technology. COVID-19 was able to define to the African, for example, today you can see people, you are at work, you can't go to church. But because COVID-19 taught us that online can be a church service, so people now, they can use their phones. COVID-19, till date, government now knows that every time we want to do meetings, we don't need to always fly down. We can have a Zoom meeting. I can sit down in Abuja, you can sit down in Enugu, and we have a Zoom meeting. Now, we weren't thinking like this before. COVID-19 forced us. So I believe that after now, If we begin to reduce most of physical meetings, it will help us to be more effective.
Right.
It means that as the president can call for a meeting, we don't need to wait for the governors to fly down. It means that in a short notice, all of us, we can just switch off our phones and we're in a Zoom meeting. And the same thing that happens in a physical meeting happens in a Zoom meeting because everybody can speak. So it helped us to be inclined more towards the technology aspect. Then COVID-19 also helped us discover that there are a lot of jobs you can do from your house. I have a lot of persons that I can tell you that earn close to 100,000 monthly who discover certain things. There are write-ups you can do online now. You don't leave your house. Because when people sat at home during the lockdown, people started thinking. Sometimes situations help you think. Without certain challenges, you don't think. But when we were locked down, we were not going out. People had to think, if I'm not going to go to my store today, how can I make money out of that?
So, all right. Now, you brought out the good part and, of course, not so good part of COVID-19 pandemic as it shapes Africa. You talked about technology, you talked about Zoom, you talked about providing job while you are there at the comfort of your house. You talked about the aspect of stealing. That really didn't make Honorable Frank and Nego comfortable talking about the amount of money that isn't the aim of making this consciousness of COVID-19 real to Africans vis-a-vis Nigerians. Honorable, I believe that as a lecturer, many doctors, they pass through you. As some other lecturers in the university now, what do you feel about his own assertion about the real nature of this COVID-19?
Yeah, as he said, that COVID-19 is real, truly is real, but it's not as real as we claim to be, or to have it in Nigeria. I'm from a medical school, we are talking about doctors. So the point is, it has been highly politicized. It is there, but not as much as we show on the screen, on papers or other media, the way it is. It's just like they'll tell you, when you eat, don't drink water. Drink water after about 1 hour to 2 hours. That's Caucasian abroad. What if you check the dining table of let's say, an African American, you see food everywhere. You see juice. You see a bottle of wine. They take this alongside. They take fluid. They take water thereafter. But when we eat in Nigeria, you don't have access to juice. So bring that American to Nigeria, give him beans and plantain, remove water and see what will happen. So when we lay claim to things, we have to be careful.
Okay.
We have to be careful. Trillions of naira, for your information, budgeted for COVID-19 campaigns. Trillions. There was a time I would have shown you figure by figure. Trillions of naira embezzled. COVID-19 has become a kind of business for African politicians. The way the PTF does it in Nigeria, every day come to give a report. They're just imitating what they do abroad. That's not how to do it in Nigeria. We have a system of communications. If you need to see me in another village, you send a town crier. He want the gun and the stick and go around. You don't be giving us figures like Baba Ejebu, and we are believing them. If we ask ourselves here in the studio, how many persons have you seen with COVID-19? How many have you seen? With this second wave now, there was a rumor that last week that about 1 or 2 doctors in UPTH are having COVID-19, this new COVID-19. It's a lie. Nobody's having it there. This second wave, nobody's having it. So we are looking at developed countries, what they do there. There's a way we should do our own. That's why I like a young man that comes on air regularly, not to do advert for him, talking about what do you call it, solar panels and all that. The way he's doing it, he has domesticated it. If anything goes wrong, he's so tropicalized that anything goes wrong with it, he can easily fix it. But if you got it from abroad, it was only built for this kind of climate. It cannot work properly. So that's on the side of politics and money embezzlement. There's so much money has been embezzled. That's on one side. Then another point you made, I think, about
technology.
Zoom. Thank God a lot of us are Christians. That's not the mind of God. I tell you expressly. In Psalm 133 verse 1, Psalm 133 verse 1, somebody says, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Technology cannot take the place of coming together. Just like this program now, I'll be in the comfort of my home. Put me on Zoom. Everybody put me on Zoom. It won't be as interesting as this. You're going to have a lot of challenges, network here and there. It won't be as lively as it is like this. There's a room for us to come together like this to deliberate. There some persons started thinking, you don't just go to the public place and be clapping for your child that my child can withstand hunger. Give him food. COVID-19 didn't come from God. It was an arrangement as well. We know the origin. There is not a thing to clap our hands for that we have developed in this set of things. It came as a disaster. So because you could now run from being killed by this disaster, does not make you a good sprinter. Otherwise, keep your legs for easy movement. So a lot of things have gone wrong in Nigeria, for instance, and in Africa. That's why Bill Gates was surprised. Because they're telling us every day, PTF, the number is going higher, going higher. Where are the people? Where are the people? Where are the centers where they are kept? Where are they? I'm from medical school, I'm telling you. Let's go and find out. Today, for instance, they're going to show figures. Well, can we see them? Okay. Can we see them?
All right. Now, can I respond? Of course, you're going to respond, but in addition to your response to his own opinion, it is called that during the first wave, whenever there's a political rally, it's like we are like normal.
Wave suspended.
You get to see crowds of persons coming out, not only in Nigeria,
everywhere.
All right, even in Tanzania, even in Ivory Coast, Mali, they did the same thing in the first wave. So how can you relate this?
First and foremost, I want us to, even though we constantly blame government, sometimes when government does well, we should appreciate them, and I'll give you my reason. Don't you think that it's possible that it's because of the way COVID-19 was announced, that was the reason why it did not spread well in Nigeria? If there is a spread of a disease, you see, sometimes I like to be logical. I don't just, I criticize what is wrong, but when I see what is right, I don't jump at criticizing. If there is a pandemic that is going around, even if it is 2 people that have it in a nation, that nation is supposed to shout about it. Because if 2 people has it and you don't shout about it, people will not be conscious and it will spread. So if you say PTF is announcing figures, they are supposed to do that. The reason for doing that is to keep the consciousness of that disease in the heart of the people. Whether you call it fear or not, COVID-19 is a reality. It came. So even if 5 people in Nigeria had it, it was the job of the media to keep shouting about it. It was the job of the government to keep shouting about it. I am believing that if COVID-19 did not spread the way it spread in other nations in Nigeria, I believe that means that the PTF did their job. I believe that means that their constant counting, the fear that they brought was necessary. Because if people were not scared, they would have entered meetings. If people were not scared, they would have been careless. You need to fear something. There is something that kills people. What do you have to say about the political terrain and COVID-19? The reality not only Nigeria, but the reality is Indonesia is sent to Algeria, they came out to the election. I am not defending that Nigerian politicians don't steal. The reality is that anything that don't they steal from terrorism, does that mean terrorism is not real? Do people not, millions is budgeted for Boko Haram? Is Boko Haram issue not making politicians rich? It's making some of them rich, but does that make it a lie? The fact I'm trying to bring is that they are stealing with it does not make it a lie. If we sell that message to the public that it is a lie, people become careless. And if people become careless, it's going to be what we are afraid of will come upon us. The reality is this, Mr. Wilson. If COVID-19 comes to Nigeria, the way it goes to other nations, if we are not careful, we will not have space to bury people. Because the places, if it spreads in Nigeria, the way it is going in America, those are the best of the best, burying millions. Now, after their presidential election, you can see that the next day there was a blow up of the case, even with all the care that they took. But here, we're not so careful. Yes, but it didn't blow. The truth is that I support the media, I support the government for the way they are spreading the news. It's necessary just to keep us cautious. But the fact that they steal is not a lie. It has been the character of our politicians to take advantage of everything.
Okay, now a point of correction to both of you is not all politicians that are involved in
yes.
So please let's get that clear. Some of them, not all of them. We have nice politicians in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Cameroon. You just name it, Mozambique, but South Africa right now, and of course the UK. They're talking about the new strain. For the very first time in an African country, they hit 1 million infection in South Africa. Now that is disturbing. That is quite disturbing. We're talking about the weather, talking about snow, talking about winter. They all have it here. Maybe that's the reason why God is helping us in a way. Well, scientists are yet to really dive into that. How come in some major parts of Africa it is not happening? Bill Gates was even surprised about it. What they predicted in Africa did not really pan out the way they envisaged it. Now let's leave COVID-19 politicians and the rest of them. Let's come back home again to rulership in Africa. You get to hear in 2020 where a president will try to tweak or twerk the constitution to come up for a third time. Yes, Nkurunziza, it happened to only to do COVID-19 according to a record, took him out of the picture. When you take a look at also what happened, Alassane Ouattara was able to twerk the constitution, he came out for a third time. All right? Even after Conde, the same thing happened. So, gentlemen, it's like 2020 was a year for African leaders to have what they want, and they got what they want. What do you feel about this, Honorable?
It's just like there's a major commotion. There's an upheaval everywhere. By that, hoodlums will just catch in that situation and begin to steal and to loot. I'm sure that's what this various president did. In West Africa, the French-speaking part of it. So they just took advantage of the situation. A lot of persons did challenge the proposition made by the various presidents, as you mentioned now, but these presidents didn't listen to them. So as they were tampering with the constitution, people who want to agitate, they'll tell them there's COVID-19. So no need for gathering of persons more than so figure and all that. So that did not really make people really agitate for their refusal to agree with the change in the constitution. So African presidents along this line decided to take advantage of that. One person did it, he walked out. The next French president did it in West Africa. It started working out for them. So they took advantage of that because the people are being impoverished. Just like Mali, for instance. Mali is one of the poorest nations in the world. Mali. So you can take advantage of someone's poverty. You can take advantage of someone's ignorance. You can take advantage of someone's incapacitated nature. So what this various president did was to take advantage of their citizens. And of course, as you know it, they became presidents, third term. But posterity will judge. But that was the right thing to have done to their beloved countries. I think as a president, especially in Africa, that is common, they should have the human face to deal with issues. And now they have become president the third term, will allow them, constitution permits them to run for the third term as they have tampered with it, and they will have to complete the third term and pave way for the next set of persons to come in.
Now, some opponents like saying that in Africa, this is where they termed it that power didn't really belong to the people. This 2020, because of what this president did, they were able to tinker with the constitution to have their way, despite massive protests, despite people losing their lives. They went ahead and they came out victorious. Salvation.
The major problem I see with governance and rulership in Africa is lack of check and balances on the executive. The executives in Nigeria, in African government, seem to have ultimate power. Because what checks the executive is systems, structures that be put in the nation. For example, look at the last American election, the just concluded American election. You will see that the African spirit, that Donald Trump has some level of Africanism in him. There is this, he wanted to show some level of executive gangsterism. He even took some cases to court. You notice that the systems are strong. Every court was throwing out his case. That's the executive. He couldn't bend the judiciary because the judiciary there is independent of the executive. They don't answer to the executive. It's also with the legislation. In African setting, what executive tries to do is to make sure that they have a judiciary and a legislation that is in their pockets. So you see, every party is trying to manipulate. By the time you have a president in Africa, the party of the president wants to make sure that it is their man that is the president of the judiciary, that is the president of the Senate. For example, take Nigeria, for example. There was killing of 40-something farmers, if not more. The judiciary came up and said, the legislation came up and said, Mr. President, come and answer and talk to your people for the killing of the people. Now, on a normal day, do we need to read Constitution for 43 people that died? You are the president. Just come and tell the people what you are doing. He even promised to come. The later time, the next thing we saw was somebody quoting Constitution for me. Are you going to quote that Constitution to the dead? People are dying. Now, nobody loses his job in organized setting. 20 people cannot die and nobody resigns. In Nigeria, 1,000 people can die and nobody is questioned. Why? The executive is Lord of all.
Well, say 1,000 people can die. Well, you have to really rephrase that word. They lose their job.
Terrorism under the present chief of staffs. The people that have died out of crime, are they not up to 1,000? Has any of them lost their job? I know what I'm saying. If you want to count the figure, people that have died under brutal, are we counting 1,000? Everybody is shouting, everybody is crying to the executive. Change these people. He has his reason. The last time I saw, one of his aides said that the chief of staff served at the pleasure of the president. That means as long as the president is enjoying them, it's okay.
Yeah, because president is the number one man, chief of army staff, Buratai. Okay, now let's focus on the election before we focus on insecurity in Africa. We're taking it phase by phase.
No, on the election, when we talk about election, it still goes back to independence of system. For example, I have always fought against this idea that it is the executive, the president, that will appoint INEC chairman, for example, in Nigeria. If their place, the piper dictates the tune.
Okay.
If I am going to, how can you want to play a match, you appoint the referee. It is not done.
Okay.
In places like America, where there are systems, that can be allowed.
All right. Now, one of the things that the system in Africa is very, very weak. That is the reason why these men, they had their way in 2020, despite the clamor and cry of the citizens of various countries in Africa. Honorable.
We have weak structures. That's wherever they exist. If they do exist, they are very weak.
Okay.
To the extent that the other arms of government are like toothless bulldogs. So as he rightly posited, is the mentality we have in Africa that inferiority complex. You can still be rich and still look inferior to another rich person. So what is operational here is you want to retain your job. It doesn't matter the number of persons that will lose their lives. You just want to retain your job. Like last week or thereabouts, they said last week, the reps apologized to the president for inviting him to speak on security matters. Just today I read again that they are claiming that they didn't apologize. Yeah, today's newspaper. That they didn't apologize. To me, that statement is belated. It's a reactionary statement. They apologized. Because they are threatened by the fact that once the president gets angry, you might lose that seat. So why would the executive lord administration over every person? If nothing is wrong with the executive, Nothing will be wrong with the legislative and the judiciary. Just last week also, ICPC in Nigeria said the judiciary have been accused of billions of naira of bribery in an attempt to falsify judgment. That is all now. It's new.
Yeah, for the past 3 years, that's the calculations
Yes.
for the past 3 years.
They just brought it up now.
Yeah.
So the thing goes around Africa like that. African leadership is like that because the enlightenment by the people is not massive enough. The enlightenment they give on COVID-19, they should give that to governments. The palliatives, all about money they have assigned or budgeted for COVID-19, then they push the same thing for security, for infrastructural development. That's what we believe them. Nigerians don't believe they exist in Nigeria, I'm telling you. They, as you earlier said, they use the face mask to enter into the banking hall. And when they enter into the banking hall, they bring it down. That's not a face mask. You bring it down to your chin. That's a face mask. You will see the bank workers bringing it down. Why did you wear it? Oh, you are wearing it. I'm sure to make a glass. You don't take it up to your head. It's not that medicated. The sunshade. So let them deploy the resources, the aggression, media aggression. If there's no pecuniary gain, let them do the same thing as they are doing for COVID-19. Then they do it for power. For some days that they have no light in these houses. Because the electricity distribution company refused to fix the transformer of the place where the power plant is situated. Those ones are saying, fix a transformer before we can allow you power some parts of the city. So there is no sincerity. So what we are saying, the legislative arm, well, if you allow me, is like a toothless good job before the executive. Is what they say, the executive will say that it will be overriding. Anybody in presidency, though not constitutional, is more powerful than the legislative and the judiciary. Because they can come out to say, the president wanted to come, wanted to honor the invitation. Another person said, don't go. Can I mention that? He said, don't go. All right. Now, don't go.
Okay. Now, before we go into insurgency and security, because we have the case of Sudan, have the case of Cameroon, have the case also of Mali, Libya is even there. We'll go into that in course of this discussion. If we want to rate democracy in Africa in the year 2020, what would be your rating, Salvation? Out of 100.
I would give Africa 40.
40.
Because I'm seeing what I would
like to also, don't worry, let's get 40.
Yes.
Yeah.
The people are rising gradually. Things are changing. If you see, whether we like it or not, Africa had peaceful elections. The peaceful elections, even if there were things that were wrong, we are gradually getting peaceful elections. If you look at Nigeria, if you look at Edo State as a case of study, it was the first time whereby after an election, nobody is going to court to contest the results. They may be contesting other things, but it seemed as though the will of the people, the person that came out was in the opposition party to the presidency. So it's like the people. This was the first time whereby you hear people tell you, they gave me money to vote for them, I took the money, I voted my conscience. So gradually Africans are getting it. I believe that in the next 20 years, democracy, whether we like it or not, American democracy took years to stand. African democracy is rising because the democracy is the people. When the people are becoming aware, look at what happened with the EndSARS protests. People are beginning to know that we have power. Power belongs to the people. You may silence them. You see, they come out. That's how it works. People come out. They are silenced by government. After some time, they come out with more force. They are silenced. There comes a time they can't be silenced anymore. So I'm not giving it 40 because of the leadership. I'm giving it 40 because I feel the people are becoming more aware. More persons want to vote. If you notice, voter turnout is rising gradually. So the people, I give it 40.
Well, like you said, rating African democracy this year, 2020, his own mark is 40%. What's your mark?
It's very benevolent.
Because you said from the people's perspective.
Yes. As a teacher, if I drop a marking scheme, I don't get 5%.
5%? For real?
I would drop a marking scheme. Not to just mentally, okay, you tried. If I drop a marking scheme, I give indices where I will score. They won't score up to 5%. The other state you mentioned, a lot of things went underground that appears as though it was peaceful. Some persons lost their lives. Will somebody lose his life and say it's peaceful? Some persons didn't want to contest the results because there were better things to contest. So let's make it peaceful. The matter is still ongoing. But why would I contest the results when I have better things to contest?
All right, now since
that's the matter
ongoing,
so let's give it that. I think they'll draw the markings here. So let's go to African continent, especially the French-speaking West African countries. Would one say that Alpha Conde or Tara, they had their elections peacefully? When people were forced to go and vote, they say in Cameroon, they were not forced, there was not a fair ground for them to vote. Some persons boycotted the elections because their lives were threatened. So the few persons that came just for the religious aspect, okay, let me just vote. Did their votes count? A lot of countries in West Africa, other parts of Africa, the president, the city president, or president to that point, then they couldn't speak. So if I'm to truly score there, I will score less than 5%.
Less than 5%.
Less than 5%. Because the elections are taking place, people were forced, it wasn't their will. I can dash them one more mark. Because
they're getting 6%.
Yes, because
in Africa,
the consciousness of the electorate is increasing. That's maybe in advance. The consciousness is increasing. In Nigeria, other parts of Africa, the consciousness has so much grown. As people projected 20, in the next 10 years, you see people will chest out, I want to contest, I want to vote. But before now, people were suppressed. They belong to a set of persons. To be a president of Nigeria, you must come a part of particular part in Nigeria. To become a president of a nation, you must belong to a social court, or social group, or a social political party. But now somebody can come up on a political platform that is not as popular as has been. People don't vote now. I'm justifying the extra 1 mark.
yeah, only 6%.
Yes, people going to come out next time to vote because they know that they will defend their votes. But so far, votes are coming the way they like in Africa.
Just the way they like in Africa.
Look at the results.
Now, still talking about voting, we realize that in most countries, and some countries in Africa in 2020, opposition choose to boycott election. Does that justify 40%?
If you notice,
because these are citizens, they refuse to come out to vote. In the year 2020, it happened in Mali, happened in Tanzania, happened in Ivory Coast. They refuse to come. Look, you've seen kind of the constitution, forget about it. In Cameroon also, they refuse to come out to vote.
if you notice, when I said that, I didn't say if you talk about African leadership,
Yeah.
it is even too benevolent. I won't give for 5%. I will never give African leadership 5%. I give them 1%. One. They don't deserve 2%.
Wow.
Africa is terribly destroyed by leadership. There are many nations, many continents who don't have what Africa has. Africa has all it takes to prosper. Many nations don't have resources like we do. They manage what they have. The problem, but I'm just talking about when you want to talk about leadership, but when you talk about opposition, that you see, I see light at the end of the tunnel. And it's coming. It's coming because you see, it's the people. It's always the people. You see, there comes a time. If somebody said there will come a time that the security agent will so oppress the youth or will so brutalize the youth that they will come out and create the kind of crowd we saw at Lekki toll gate, I wouldn't believe it. But all of a sudden, people came out. They were so organized. Now, they've been driven back. But the question is not that you drove them back. Are you appeasing them? You think that people are human beings. You see, when you push somebody to the wall, it comes back. Africa is giving a sign like people are being pushed to the wall gradually. You see, if you notice, the average African, we like our life. We don't like it. We don't want to die. So when you see us get to the level where we don't care anymore, just know that we have gotten to the end. So when you talk about all these leaders, of course, it's not going to be easy. We are talking of dictators who are wearing. The truth is this: from our leaders' perspective, democracy has not come to Africa. The leaders have not yet recognized democracy. We just have military rule called democracy. There is still authority. People still dictate for everybody. So, but the people is the people. So my hope for Africa, and why I will keep saying that, I scored the people. I didn't score the leaders. The leaders didn't even come to the exam. So there's no score.
If they tell that they're doing the exam, you have to score them.
They have missing scripts. The leaders have missing scripts, but the people, we are becoming more enlightened. And I want to appreciate the media. The media is doing a good job. You know, there is a lot of analysis, and that is why when TVC was burnt down, I was sad. Because that very moment when hoodlums attacked TVC, I was listening to them. And on that stage, the people that were there, they were supporting the people. They were speaking for people. So I was wondering, they said, in fact, on that very minute, 5 minutes before those hoodlums attacked TVC, I was listening to TVC. There were 2 women, I think they were seriously criticizing the government. And all of a sudden, the same people that are defending you come and burn down. There was just no reason for that. But the media, they are trying. The media is getting bold, because another problem we have is silence media. You see, it's in Africa that you see we bring rules that look like democratic rules, but these are military rules. You see, they call hate speech. They bring something. There's no parameter to define hate speech. You just target hate speech. So the one that is against you, you call it hate speech. The one that you speak is not hate speech. When you say the dog and the baboon we soak in blood, it's not hate speech. When we come out to express our mind, you call it hate speech. Okay. But the people are coming. That's what I want to tell the leaders. Okay. The people are coming.
All right, the people are coming. Africa 2020, major event that shaped Africa. You can talk about one of the events that shaped Africa in the year 2020. We're talking about insurgency. We're not talking about terrorism. We're not talking about insecurity. We're talking about war in some parts in Africa. Throw more light on it, Honorable Frank.
Yes, terrorism in Africa has remained unattended to the right way, because what they're trying to do is to treat with kid gloves. The insurgents are coming from the right, and you're running towards the left. Nigeria, for instance, what if we were actually attacked, that this Boko Haram is another country entirely? This would have been gone. The right attention has not been given. Military might have been subdued politically. You see them talking like politicians. Each time they make some statements, I follow them on Twitter. Their statements are political statements. If you are replying a civilian here and there, you are a military officer. You attend to your work in a military fashion. So if the willpower is there from the government, various countries in Africa where there's this terrorism, there's terrorism in other parts of the world, but there's a way they mitigate against it. But the attention we give to it here, just like, what's that last month or so, some farmers were killed in the north of Nigeria. The next statement that came up from the military was, did you get clearance from us before you went to farm? You're supposed to make such a statement.
That wasn't the military that made that statement. It was someone else that made that statement, really.
From that Twitter angle,
yeah.
I read it. They didn't get clearance from us. They didn't get clearance from the military. DHQ, that's Defense Headquarters. That's it. That was the statement created to DHQ. They didn't get clearance. You don't get clearance to go to farm. And now we are afraid of famine coming up. I want to go to farm. It's your duty to protect me. Professor Zulu also condemned military behavior of recent. You are supposed to guide and guard people to avoid external aggression. But now we are killed within. People come from neighboring countries, Nigeria, Chad, and all that, without your defense. You are not protecting Nigeria. If there's a protection covering Nigeria by the military, you discover that at that point, to be a gun battle between Nigerian army and those insurgents. Not that we are inside our house and you are guarding us outside, we are shouting for help inside. It's a big war. So the government attention, so much money is voted for this. Corruption has leaked it out. So much money for equipment, so much money for arms and ammunition. Nothing comes out of it. One will expect as a businessman that if I invest $1 million in this business, then I should be expecting some gains. So much has been voted into defense, but nothing is coming out of it. You're asking me before we go to farm and get clearance from you. I should go casually without fear of anything or molestation. But now farmers are being killed. Nothing is done about it. Nothing. Just like Africans are commonly religious. Especially in Nigeria. So we'll give glory to God. We'll give glory to God. We are killing us. What glory give to God? Somebody has a destiny to fulfill. And you have truncated that destiny. Say, we give glory to God. But you are alive. Your children are alive. So the attack, the way we're attacking terrorism is making them to come out more in large numbers.
All right, so, okay, and the military, they are doing something about it. They're not doing anything about it. They are really, really working around the clock just to correct that notion that they are doing nothing about it.
They should protest it. They should be working around the clock.
Okay, fine. You're going to have the last thing on the signal. I'll tell you that I should call it a wrap. It's so strong right now. If you go to Ethiopia, and the neighboring border with Somalia, they have the Tuareg rebels, they have the jihadists. You come to Nigeria, have ISWAP, we have Boko Haram. Go to Libya, it's like, broken into splinters where you see ISIS still there manifesting. It's like Africa was like, submerged this year by the activities of terrorists. How can we get out of it to make sure that 2021 is like a better year? Briefly.
We need a better approach. All over the world, it has been proven that the bullet does not stop terrorism alone. You can never, as good as America, whoever they are, the bullets. Let me tell you, terrorists prey on the grievances and the dissatisfaction of citizens. Have you not asked? You keep killing people and they are multiplying. Where are they recruiting people from? While the terrorists recruit people, people are angry with the government. You've got to be angry with it. So what do you use to fight terrorism? You use the bullet and good governance. The people must be happy and satisfied. So whenever they want to be recruited, they don't have a reason.
All right, thank you. I know you have so much to say, but our time is fast spent. I'm going to call it a wrap right now. Gentlemen, I appreciate you for being here with me in the last edition of Africa Discourse for the year 2020. Your wonderful analysis, top notch. By God's grace, subsequently next year, the year 2021, will be here to talk about some other issues bedeviling Africa. And of course, Nigeria is part of Africa. Gentlemen, I appreciate both of you once more. We'll do it again tomorrow on International Forum, God willing. Bye for now.
This is ITV. Certainly the best.